founder of Antier, a premier blockchain consulting firm and advocate for blockchain education. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a loud round of applause. Let's also have it for Mr. Dharamveer Singh Chauhan, CEO with expertise in entrepreneurship, gamification and business transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Dharamveer Singh Chauhan. And for our next speaker, Mr. Vijay Kumar Sharma, a tech leader with 20 plus years of experience, who's also passionate about photography and travel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Vijay Kumar Sharma. As also, please welcome Ms. Anuja Dhawan, co-founder of Dubverse.ai, a pioneering AI dubbing and multilingual content accessibility. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Anuja Dhawan. As also Mr. Ankur Dinesh Garg, AI and e-commerce expert with over 25 years of experience across multiple sectors. And with that, I hand it over to our moderator, Mr. Vikramar Singh, to take this forward.
Thank you very much. So, first of all, let me thank Sky who organized this session, and I would say like we are very fortunate because AI is not only the talk of the town but the talk of the world as well. And if we look at how the disruptions happen, like थोड़ा सा अगर हम past में जाते हैं, like it was in 1815 or 16 when camera was invented, and all the the craftsmen, जो painters होते थे, they got very much scared कि what is going to happen now. But धीरे-धीरे when the camera got accepted, it gave the birth to the film industry. So the film industry which we saw today is the reason for it is the camera invention behind the camera. I will put another note on top of it. It was in 1975 when the digital photography was invented, and up to 1990 there was no disruption happening. But when it eventually started coming into the hands, I would say the mobiles, all the mobile companies started putting camera into it. Then what happened is in front of everyone. So why I'm trying to say this, because how we can understand the technology evolution. All the companies like Facebook, we can't imagine Facebook or maybe Instagram without a camera in our phone. Am I right or wrong? Right? So the Kodak or the Canon companies were not disrupted by any conventional competition. They were disrupted by the companies like Facebook, like the InstaNotes. So this is how the technology evolves. But I'm fortunate that we have a very beautiful panel today, and let me first give some introduction and what we try to achieve from this panel. That because I feel like most of us are service sector companies from here, and everyone is trying to understand what kind of opportunities are there in the AI space and how it is going to impact or maybe kind of threat. It will create a threat to my business. So we'll try to dig deeper and also learn what these guys have done in their respective industries, and we'll try to take away some of the. My goal is for you guys to take away some of the insights which you can apply into your business, and do justice to this beautiful panel. So to my left is Mr. Dharamveer. So Dharamveer ji is the pioneer who brought the concept of backpackers in India. I will just stop here, but go to the Mr. Vijay. Vijay is from the Sumo Logic, who is instrumental in scaling their company, this international brand, from 10 people team to 200 team members into the R&D space, and also serving the entire world from India operation now. Then we have Anuja ji. Anuja ji is the lady which is building India's own, I would say, indigenous LLMs, right? So that's what, again, good to have you guys. And then we have Ankur ji. Ankur ji is the successfully exited entrepreneur and now turned investor. So we have all sides covered, I would say, and serial entrepreneur as well. But I think I will start with the introduction. कहते हैं ना कि the first life happens with you, when you are born, then lives happen through you, how you take it, and then life happens with you, the kind of stories you create. So there would not be like a good, better way of starting off this session by hearing, other than hearing their stories from their own, side. So 1 minute to each, because हमारे पास आधा घंटा है, and try to justify, that whatever like the responsibility I have been given to. Please, over to you.
This is Dharamveer. I'm from Jodhpur originally. I love.
So what I would like, sorry to, like you are born and brought up, your education and your first career, before we move on to the, the business side of it.
Right. So I'm Dharamveer. I'm from Jodhpur. I've been a techie nerd in my early life. Wanted to make a gaming career. I ended up at IIT BHU, made a gaming studio, exited that to Zynga in 2012. Then joined, backpacked across Europe in 2011, and it was amazing experience. But I have seen India, and I was like, India is such a beautiful country. Why do young people don't have such stays? Came back to India, joined IIM Calcutta, opted out of placement, started Zostel in 2013 itself, and the journey is still going. And that's briefly, I think.
Vijay
Cool. So I spent early years of my life in Himachal, did my education from there, and I was fortunate to start my career with Adobe. Most of you probably know, and I started working on Photoshop, and from there I picked photography as a hobby and still pursuing it. I spent 11 years there and was very fortunate to see how technology shifted from desktop, products to mobile, and then SaaS, and now AI's new, shift which is happening in the industry. Right now, I am part of a company called Sumologic. We are into observability and security space, and we'll talk more about it. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Anuja this side, founder of Dubverse. I come from Meerut, born and brought up there. And when I was doing my graduation, I thought I'm a finance nerd, so started that. And in my college, I think my dream was just to get in KPMG, and then I think my career will be set. But once I got there, I was like, no, this is not. So I think from there, being a part of multiple startups, LineTray, Freshworks, and then now doing Dubverse. So happy to be here, happy to share my journey and what we are trying to do at Dubverse as well.
Ankurji, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ankur Dinesh Garg, born and brought up in Jaipur, IIT Bombay, Mechanical. Last 25 years, I have built many large-scale products like Naptol, HomeShop 18, many e-commerce companies, exited an AI company, sold it to a US company. I've been actively involved in advising and investing in startups, currently building the next generation AI platform, Alyra.
Nice, thank you. So it's a Rajasthan heavy panel, I would say. So 3 of the team members are like Rajasthan, and Anuja is from UP.
UP, yes.
So okay, so let me start the session. I would say ladies first approach, right? So Anuja, you are building India's own like LLM. So tell us more about it, right? And like some of the question on that is like, so how your like AI powered model like is increasing the or helping the efficiency, accuracy of the content creation side of it, the localization side of it, and what kind of impact it is making on the the media industry or maybe the education industry, whatever you want to pick up.
Sure. I'll try and cover most of it. So like I said, I'm the founder for Dubverse. At Dubverse, we started with a mission to break the language barrier on the internet. Everything that we see on the internet is primarily in English. What we are still talking is English, but India does not speak English, right? It's a very wide variety of languages that we speak. And this was during the time of COVID, when education was being digitized, and we realized that if everything is in English, then not every child will be having the same opportunities from a language standpoint. So that was the mission statement or the problem statement that we sort of identified. And from that, we were able to build out a product which does video dubbing with a click of a button in 60 plus languages. We did that. We have gotten a scale of 2 million users globally now. But while at it, we realized that it's the how it is spoken that my audience is going to engage with it or not. And in specifically Indian languages, the voice is still very robotic, very flat, that I do not want to engage with that content. So that's where our major technology effort goes, where we are building our own foundational model for speech of how can we make it speak Hindi, Tamil, Punjabi with a very native accent, and that's the mission that we are solving for. Now from a localization standpoint, we've already worked with the likes of Netflix, a lot of these media houses as well, where dubbing has existed since forever, but it's a very manual, long, expensive sort of process that happens. So we are trying to democratize the dubbing industry and trying to make it more and more automated with AI.
Nice. So I will thank you. So very interesting work because you guys will also be able to relate it. What they are doing. I have a daughter at home. She has grown up like while watching all these South Korean guys, BT5, whatever you call it, and they keep watching these South Korean dramas and everything, and by just reading the titles on top of them. So what they have done is like you can simply give your video and it can give you the translation version in the audible form as well, which is very important to hear. Audible as well as the text as well. Am I right?
Yes,
So
both.
that's amazing. So and coming out of India in itself is I would say great. I think it requires a little bit more applause, from the crowd, from the. So coming to Vijay so like you guys are into working in the server side of it, the logs which gets created because I would like to add over here like since the inception of the digital camera, we have now experiencing 10 trillion images which gets generated every day. So which means like the lot of opportunities are coming towards the data side of it, and that's what you do or maybe help companies to do. So how the machine learning and analytics side of it with the respect to what you are doing is helping your customer achieve their objective, and how you are using it within your own domain. So if you can let us know.
Sure. So I'll quickly talk about in essence what do we do. So we are primarily into observability and security space. What does that mean is, so any business, and I would say that majority of businesses are digital businesses today, you are using some kind of technology. And imagine, Twitter, for example, at any point of time, millions of users are interacting on that platform. But how do you ensure that whosoever is interacting with your product is able to fulfill the use case they are trying to solve? So you need a technology which is automatically, monitoring your systems to ensure that, your things are working, your services are up and running in the desired way. So we help companies to figure out automatically without any human intervention that your system are up and running. And not only that, we help them go into the root cause of the problem, fix it and come back. That's observability part of it. And the second, which is I think one of the most challenging part for majority of technology companies, is security. So and in security, basically there are different, I would say, verticals of security that you saw in different organizations. We are into, SOC side of it. So if you have seen those Bollywood and Hollywood movies with a big hall, with big screens and dashboards running, showing some kind of data, that's a typical scene of a SOC, which is Security Operations Center. Our softwares are deployed in those SOCs, and what companies do is they monitor their security posture and figure out, okay, what do they need to do? And so in observability and security, there is scale involved. A lot of the big enterprises who are dealing with exabytes of data, and our platform is basically running 1 billion plus queries on a daily basis. So we are helping our customers doing a lot of stuff with data and connecting it to AI. There is huge opportunity, especially if I talk about the security part. In security, the biggest challenge today is that the way attacks and the variety of threats which are increasing, the skill is not being, we are not able to up-level the skill at the same pace, which means there is a huge skill gap which companies need to fill, and I think AI can play a significant role in that in terms of, okay, how do we enable organizations through AI to tackle those security issues without, worrying too much about what kind of, skill set do they have, are they able to up-level that and all that. So there's a lot of research going on that. Right. I'll probably stop here. There are follow-up questions, probably, I can take that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So I can very well relate over here, because while working or driving our own company, so whenever something used to go out of roof, so most of people can relate with it. Like we used to ask our team members, अरे logs check करो, right? And when the amount of data goes, achieves a level, it is not easy for humans to, check all the logs manually, right? So this is where these people come into play, and this is what they are trying to achieve. And it also reminds me something about security. कहते security in AI is like, call it like self-learning antivirus, which not only protects your the business, but not only the laptop but entire business. That's what AI does to the security side of it. And at the same time, it's not about like scaling efficiency. It's about the entire business model, like the kind of the solution they have built on top of it, which is amazing. So thank you. Coming to Ramesh ji. So you guys are using conversational AI a lot in your business. So if you can guide our audience, like how the businesses are finding new ways of interacting with their customers, right? And what kind of like consideration any business like sitting over here should take into account before they have to start using any maybe a voice assistant or maybe any conversational speech.
Sure. So I'll take with our example, and maybe it expands to all businesses. So at Zostel, we come from the idea that all you need is a local friend to travel anywhere in the world. If you have somebody who's local, who's running an establishment, is part of the community, the whole world can practically feel like home if you have a local friend everywhere. And while you are traveling, all you need is it's a live operations aspect. So you want to be in constant touch, whether it's a weather that has gone south, let's say recently happened in Himachal, right? Or there might be some route that's inaccessible, or just a general confirmation that I'm coming late in the night. So there is a continuous to and fro conversation that happens. So we act as a trip partner. All of that used to be, around 10 people team that used to be very manually. There's a human in the loop process. And you can place chatbots for flow in the process. But what has recently happened over the last 1 year is that the level of intelligence, I don't how much you guys are really interacting with AI at the moment. It's really on the frontier. It's not really a chatbot anymore. The kind of reasoning, the deep thought, it's very practically like even if you are with a super smart individual on your right and left side, unless you ask something smart from the individual, you will not know how smart he is. If you will not ask smart questions, you will not know what is the threshold of AI intelligence that's come up. So for us, we have converted into APIs. We are, practically looking at integrating each and every aspect. So whatever humans used to do, let's say booking confirmation, so you have to make an agent that's a function for booking, then you have to make an agent for support. So it's a multi-agent, multi-intelligence platform that acts behind a single, chatbot or something. So that's where we are today in terms of being a trip partner for now around 10,000 people every day, which was earlier we used to be only checked in and very less.
So think of a call center model which provides live support to the customers. So and that's what you are trying to. You have already automated that task. So conversational AI is now not only like scaling the conversation. It's more about like scaling the meaningful relationship. That's what it is doing to their business, right? And if you can imagine, like it is not possible for like how many people you want to deploy when you have like millions and millions of customers onto your platform. And और साथ में थोड़ा सा ऐड करूँगा कि like it's not about like आजकल की with the advent of the AI, people will become like so machines will become like people human, but it's more like the danger is like a human will become like machines. So that might be the danger. So coming to Ankur ji, आपके लिए because you have seen both the side of the things. You have been on the startup side, scaled it, and now on the investor side. So my question to you will be like how you identify the difference between a startup which is working on AI and especially hype versus a real use case. So how do you distinguish while investing into an AI startup on both these two fronts?
So we have very deeper understanding of AI, how it works. Last 10 years, me and my team have spent trying to uncover mysteries of AI. So one is we definitely evaluate the technology. And then we also analyze that how what they have built can be used in future pivots, because that's a very important aspect of looking at a startup, because AI is extremely fluid technology. What you're building today, tomorrow, any new release from OpenAI or Microsoft might just kill your 1 year effort. So how agile you are, what assets have you created, and how that can be reused over this volatile environment that we're dealing with in AI is extremely important to see how startup is going to do in AI space.
Nice, thank you. So I also heard something about it's not about what AI can do, but what it does. At the same time, the hype versus your own the real use case. Like at the end of that, it's all about execution. How you execute your whether it is AI or whether it is working in a conventional model. So that is very important.
So
Yeah.
we try to help entrepreneurs differentiate between magic and a product. So magic is great. It has significant entertainment value. You see it all over on LinkedIn, Facebook, Google today, and you feel excited, oh, AI has done this. But that does not translate into real enterprise value. And it is not consistent. That magic cannot happen every day, every second, every hour. So we try to help entrepreneurs in differentiate between magic and products. Right? Late magic is great, but we invest in products.
Great, thank you. So I will come back to Anujari on this. So tell us how the kind of role Indian companies are playing in building these LLMs, and how have you seen the kind of the adoption you have seen in the Indian ecosystem, especially in the enterprises as well as the creator economy you work with.
Right. I think I'll carry forward from that point, right? So the first 2 years were only about magic, where we saw multiple things come and multiple things go, and enterprises were also very cautious in terms of using it. So hence how we also started with, we figured out that it's the long tail or it's the prosumer category which is going to adopt this faster and run with it, because those are the early adopters who want to play around with technology, see how they can add this to their workflows. So we started with creators, smaller marketing teams, L&D teams, we got some larger teams as well, but all of that was very, we were able to build an engine which was more inbound in a certain way, because the AI adoption is happening at large, but it's very scattered around. Now, which one will go deeper is something we are still yet to see. That's where the verticalization of AI is starting to happen. But for the last 2 years, I would say it was very horizontal. And now coming on to enterprise, I think last 6 to 8 months have been very different, where now enterprises are realizing that this is not just another wave or another hype cycle that we are in. This has real value. This is real business value. So now enterprises are, I would say, returning to the table and trying to understand that what part of the ecosystem or what part of the workflow to start with can be replaced with AI, and then the whole thing can be replaced with AI is how we are also seeing. So we started with more the long tail of it, and now we are getting onto the enterprise bit largely.
And I heard you guys have 2 million plus users, so which clearly not only a good news for your own startup, but also good news for the person sitting just beside you.
We need security, of course.
So if you can talk about Vijay, what kind of a cloud infrastructure, maybe the architecture of your product, is there, and what kind of a value, maybe the IP you have built, or maybe not the IP, but the USP you have built, which is helping your customers.
Sure. I'll probably divide it into 2 parts, because I may not be able to talk about all the things that we are doing. Probably first part I'll share in the sense what we have solved so far and which is already available in the market and everybody can access it. So this is a common trend, right? If you look at how AI has been evolving, every business is trying to figure out what is the either you are trying to solve for speed, or you are trying to optimize for accuracy, or you are optimizing for reducing the effort, right? And we chose a path, as I mentioned when I was speaking about security. The other element in security is the complexity. Today, any security analyst has to go through a lot of data from different sources. You can imagine an organization has multiple applications, network layers, firewalls, and all that. What they have to do is they have to look at information from all these sources and then generate insights. Today, what we do is, like you have all these data coming into our platform, and we do some of the things which help you save plenty of time, and you don't need to, you know, build a lot of domain expertise for that. So I'm sure in the room everybody is aware of Microsoft Copilot, right? So we built something like that, wherein when you go to our platform, you have your personal agent there, who is telling you right now this going on in your system. So you don't imagine like somebody had to come earlier to the platform and look at like 20 data sources to figure out, okay, what's going on. Now you have an agent which is telling you this is a problem. These are probably 3-4 reasons why this is happening, and you can directly attack it. I'll stop here. There are a lot of other things that we are trying to do. I cannot disclose that, but I can quickly talk about the trends that we are seeing, right? So this year, I think a lot of enterprise companies basically are investing on agentic AI, and this is going to evolve multifold. Today, probably we are talking about one agent. You can easily imagine a world where there will be multiple agents within one product, and then these agents are interacting with other agents in other products. So it's like how APIs sort of grew over the years of time. Agentic AI is very, I would say, in that stage, which is going to mature in short period of time, and there's a lot of innovation happening on that, on SaaS, data analytics, and security.
Nice. So the AI is not only about data, but the algorithm and what these algorithm can do for you. So that's what is important. So coming to Dharmendra, so what kind of innovations you guys are doing now, like after having achieved the conversational model, already using them for your customers? So what is new now, like which you are trying to achieve for your customers?
Trips is something that's new for us. Zotrips is an exponential path that we have found along with our core Zostel business. So we already do trips across Vietnam, Thailand, Azerbaijan, and and it's a recent business, 1 year old. So I think AI has really, and as Vijay and Anuja and everyone's been telling, that implementation into business is something that we have been also looking at. So we feel that in the travel industry, being a good travel agent, understanding the itinerary, the weather, the things to do, the booking. So it's like a 10 agent issue that we have built. There's a strong human in the loop, but we are trying to eliminate. So there's a very strong business that we have built. Would love for people to try Zobu. We like to call our trip partner Zobu. So that's something new and exciting. You can just DM on WhatsApp and Zostel will take care of it.
I will definitely do that. So coming back to Ankurji. So Ankurji, my question will be last, I would say, and maybe everyone can take up this question as well. What kind of like AI application or the sectors which you feel are going to inching towards the disruption part, like which can create disruption?
So I'll name a few sectors, and they're not sequentially getting disrupted, they're all getting disrupted together. So marketing, BPO, KPO, software development, entertainment, cybersecurity, they are the sectors that are going to get disrupted very soon, 6 months, 12 months down the line. It's already happening, we just don't see it yet. Okay, but also in these sectors, we follow a rule that if you are building something for today, you should not, you are already late. If you are building something for tomorrow, then you should not do that. If you are building something for day after, then think again. And only if you are thinking beyond day after, it makes sense to start building something now. Because that's how the industry is moving very fast.
What's your input?
Sure. I think more than the industry, I think it's going to impact how we interact with the internet primarily. My hopeful belief is that that's going to change by a lot in the next coming year, and I think voice will really play a very big part, and that's what we are building towards.
Vijayji?
I believe that, I think basically, I'll not go into very specifics of it, but what I'm seeing is, I think every business is trying to do something with this technology. One, one thing which stands out very clearly is that I think the maturity of the technology and maturity of use cases where they stand today, I think every business will figure out a good balance, and especially it's leaning more towards the niche use cases. First, you focus on the niche use cases that you can solve in a particular business, and then it will probably mature and grow and sort of try solving the bigger problems, because the models today, how they are designed, and I think Dhanveer rightly pointed out that it's very, very important to understand how you are going to use this technology, what kind of questions you're asking, how you are doing your prompt engineering, all that stuff. I think a lot of innovation has to still happen on that side of things.
Yeah, I'll close it up. So, as my friends also just said, that you have to imagine AI in each and every industry, particularly. So I've been very fascinated with, let's say, Cursor. So there's intelligence behind. As they are saying that intelligence too cheap to meter. So basically, human beings, we do physical labor. We eliminated physical labor with machines. We can't build these hotels without machines. So what really happens with humans? Intelligence is available as machine to everyone. So it's a lot creative, I would still say, and very dynamic. From foundational models to application layers, everything is ready to be disrupted. It needs focused entrepreneurs to attack an industry and then connect all everything together.
Very nice. So we are just on time, but I would like to add a few points from our side as well. So how we look at AI, like if we look at the business, that it is a value which gets created, then gets captured, and that gets delivered. So for example, you have a product or service which you offer to the customers, but how you acquire those customers and how you make the sales happen, which means like how the value is captured. And when you got the product or the service, that how you deliver those products. So when we started with our journey, I would say like we started from our side, inside only, that how we gonna use AI to operate, increase our efficiency, operational efficiency. So AI is going to play a pivotal role in all the, I would say like three sides of the business: the creation of value, capturing of value, and delivery of value. So, and I would end this session with a note that the future is not going to belong with those companies which are going to master the AI tools, but with those companies which master the AI mindset. So that's what, the kind of importance it holds in the times to come in all of our businesses. Thank you very much, and I believe we are exactly on time, and thank you to all the panelists for such an insightful session. Thank you.
Well, there can be nothing that makes an MC happier than a panel finishing on time. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for also helping us navigate that entire labyrinth of deep tech and AI. It was a great insight and great conversations indeed. With that, may I please request Mr. Atul Patria and Mr. Sachin Khosla to come up and felicitate our respected panel. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Dharamveer Singh Chauhan, CEO with expertise in entrepreneurship, gamification, and business transformation. We also have with us Mr. Vijay Kumar Sharma, a tech leader who brings 20 plus years of experience and is also passionate about photography and travel. Ladies and gentlemen, please also give it up for Ms. Anuja Dhawan, co-founder of Dubverse AI, a pioneering AI dubbing and multilingual content accessibility company. And let's also felicitate Mr. Ankur Dinesh Garg, AI and e-commerce expert with over 25 years of experience across multiple sectors. And any fruitful conversation has to have a great moderator at its center. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our moderator, Mr. Vikram R. Singh, founder of Antier, a premier blockchain consulting firm and advocate for blockchain education. Many thanks to all our speakers and panelists. From early stage struggles to billion-dollar successes, if you truly go searching for some, every corner of the country that you go to, there's a story waiting to be told. It's time to uncover those stories, as also the entrepreneurial DNA of Bharat. Let me now make you meet someone who's a passionate storyteller. She's championed 40,000 plus entrepreneurial narratives, shaping India's startup ecosystem since 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Ms. Shraddha Sharma, founder and CEO, Your Story, India's largest digital media platform for startups. As we now transition into our next panel, Uncovering Your Story, the entrepreneurial DNA of Bharat with